Excellent. We are live.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining for episode 2 of the BFF podcast. And today we'll be talking about very important things such as mindset, male female dynamics. And we're going to have our first female entrepreneur on board, which is going to be talking a lot about female entrepreneur vibes, how to get into that, a lot of mindset around it. And if you guys have any questions regarding those subjects specifically, especially mindset and leadership, you'll be able to ask it and we'll answer that. But today I am with the one and only Alecia Maximo, and
Yes.
she is a very special person. Honestly, from what I've seen, she has her own podcast. She is a coach and also a, how can I say, consultant for a lot of people who are looking to succeed in life. And just a pretty cool person. So we'll get started.
Thank you.
Alicia, how's it going?
Yes. Going great. Thank you for having me on your podcast. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. It's going well, starting off 2026 with a positive mindset going into this year as taking some action. But yeah, thank you. Thank you so
Hell yeah.
much.
It's my pleasure. And let me tell you this, Alicia. I mean, first of all, I have to say that I love the vibe that you displayed in person when we first met. And it's something very cool to have when you meet new people, especially entrepreneurs. Those are go
Mm-hmm.
getters, those are energetic. So I want to give you props on that. Now, for those who don't know who you are, those who are listening for BFF for the first time, can you tell a bit more about the what you were doing, what your specialty is, so that they know who they're
Of
talking to?
course, yes, of course, of course. To first start out, of course, I've been this on this entrepreneurship journey for about, I would say, 4 years now. So once I first founded Venora, which is a founder-led media platform, and I've always been interested when starting my company of how people build sustainable lives and businesses, not just financially, but also mentally and physically, right? So those go hand in hand for me when I first started the company. And first, when you are starting out on this journey, there's trial and error. You're trying to follow trends or figure out what's working for you as an entrepreneur. But now that we are more grounded, especially me as a woman, I found that Venora started and now is at the intersection of media culture and entrepreneurships. And I always been passionate about helping founders and operators gain visibility and credibility in a way that attracts the right opportunities if it has to do with clients, customers, or looking for an investor. That is my background, and I've always been passionate about helping these individuals and health and wellness and sustainable technology of putting them in a proper position to attract a certain clientele, audience, or an investor. So that's how Venord started and where the name came from. If you look back in like mythological historian history, Venora was the goddess of knowledge, and all of us would be very confused about where we're heading into our journey without education, right, or without knowledge. So the internet and as far as school has created more of a foundation to collect this knowledge on these different journeys or these different paths that we were all on. And that's where the name came from. It was very unique. I didn't want anything modern like you hear today on social media. I wanted something that when someone's looking at Venora, they're like, oh, what's that? I'm very interested in what the name means itself. And then now that we are building and continuing to building foundation, the name just speaks for itself. So that's a little bit about Venora and how we got started. And this entrepreneurship journey has been a major trial and error for me on a personal note. I just feel like with it takes a certain tenacity and grit to keep going and believing in your vision. And I've just been grateful to have a very supportive team and supportive friends to help me discover that vision and to continue it.
Wow, that's so powerful. And obviously, I
Thank
couldn't
you.
have said this myself. Now, I am curious to know, Alicia. I mean, so you did get started in this brand of yours, but what I am most curious about is what made you want to exactly start this movement? When did that happen? And what was that like pivotal moment that made you say, okay, today's the day. I'm starting. I'm getting my first client. I'm making the logo, and I'm
Right.
launching my brand. So tell me more
Yes.
about this day one.
Of course. So this first started, I would say in the early 2023, when, social media have kind of played the playing field of people having financial freedom per se, but using the internet to the advantage to make a stream of income online. So once I first discovered a way to do that, especially, I was working a 9 to 5, but I was like, there has to be another option or another opportunity to at least, live life on my own terms. And then when I started researching more about entrepreneurship and what it takes, and what systems does it take, or how do you build a foundation to be a successful entrepreneur, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. Like, this is going to be my personality. And for me, I just saw other people doing it on TikTok and Instagram, and I was like, well, if I see other women and men doing it, I feel like I can do the same thing. And when I first got discovered, when it came to creating the logo, creating the who, what, why, and the mission, I compared my knowledge in the health and wellness industry and branding industry into Venora as a whole and building the foundation from there. And when you're talking about entrepreneurship and me being an entrepreneur, that can look different to everyone depending on what niche that you're in, if you're selling B2B or B2C. For myself, I just saw a lot of business owners, small to medium sized businesses, internationally and even domestically here in Canada, United States, where a lot of founders were coming to me, especially in the health and wellness industry, asking, how do I make myself credible and visible to investors, right? So they're looking for at least $1 to $4 million for an investment towards their brand, towards their company, or towards them being thought leaders. And I was like, this is the power, the superpower that I have created for myself, where they're reaching out to me on LinkedIn and Instagram asking, how do I, attract attention towards my company, my brand, so I can receive more, financial stability to take my company from here to all the way up there. And that's kind of just how it got started and developed. I started sharing my journey on LinkedIn and what I was going through from a personal note, and doing a lot of storytelling from my own experience, and that started attracting and opening up the doors for other founders to come to me and tell me about what they're struggling with it as well. Because as a millennial, of course, we grew up with like MySpace and Facebook, but we weren't consistently posting, on other social media platforms. But now that kind of seems to be a norm where people can find you and relating to your audience and relating the audience to your brand and what your brand is representing. And I feel like that's what kind of made Venora as a whole, and then me attaching my face and my story to the company kind of just built the foundation itself. And now we're here. And when founders are coming to me asking, like, I'm not a social media manager, but I have a way of taking a product, a brand, or a person and helping them navigate on what social media platform can they perform on the best, and how can they attract, I would say, the tenacity of the investors or VCs or people that want to help their actual brand get from point A to point B. And that's how it all just got started. So it was more of a self reflection of my own and sharing my story, and that attracted my clients to me as a consultant. And then helping them from the beginning to end just has been such a unique experience, because I feel like we all learn from each other, especially in this entrepreneurial landscape. And that's how I got started on this entrepreneurship journey. When I was younger, I never thought in a million years that I would be an entrepreneur. We were growing up, we were promised a certain, I would say, lifestyle, work a 9 to 5, buy a house, get married, have a family. But now, like, we necessarily don't have to do that. We have options, we have opportunities. The internet has been such a, has been such a connector with other people from all over the world, to do an energy exchange and to do business with. So I'm just grateful that I'm on this path. I've connected with people from all over the world that's helping me build my vision, and I'm helping them build theirs as well.
That's so sweet. And
Oh, thanks.
honestly, that's yeah, honestly, and it's obviously for some viewers is a lot of words to
Mhm.
describe like the journey, but as it should, because I'm pretty
Mhm.
sure you had to go through a lot since 2023 starting your
Oh yeah,
brand. I
yeah.
personally started my brand in 2022 September. I remember that
Mhm.
as if it was yesterday back in college.
Mhm.
But there's a lot of people out there that are kind of holding themselves back from wanting to get into something like coaching, something
Mm-hmm.
like consultation or entrepreneurship. Others are maybe already 1 foot in or feet already in. However, they're encountering a lot of issues or challenges which they would like to grow from. So I wanted to like to ask you, Alicia, when you started your brand, obviously you were sharing your journey,
Mm-hmm.
obviously you were learning along this journey, but if you're comfortable sharing, what would you say were one of the biggest challenges you've had for your brand or your business? And what did those challenges taught you and actually helped you grow from them?
Mm-hmm. The biggest challenge that I faced from the start was what foundation to build off of. Because when it comes, as humans, we're naturally geared towards structure and foundation. And once we dip our foot in the pool of, okay, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, I'm going to do this, I'm going to be a coach or consultant, it's kind of like, okay, what system or foundation do I follow to make my nervous system comfortable and more of a guarantee like this is going to work out. So the biggest challenge for me was to sit back and be like, this is it. I'm just going to have to do a free fall and trust the universe or trust God to make sure this works out. So that was my biggest challenge, is like letting go of like the guarantee that this is going to work out. Is more of like a self revelation thing where it's like, okay, I'm here, I want to do this, but there's not there's not a company I can grow with or a foundation that I can really look at and be like, look at the numbers, look at the analytics and be like, okay, this is going to work, this go-to market strategy is going to work. It was really a trial and error, and that was the biggest challenge for me, especially me as a type A Virgo woman. I was like, okay, if I do this, I'm going to get this result. But honestly, it really is just taking a risk on yourself. And that was my biggest challenge, is like the risk and the not building on a set foundation to see like how is all this going to work out. And that would be honestly the biggest challenge I'm still facing today. And I feel like once you sign up for the challenges, it takes a lot of encouragement and self-talk to continue to go through this journey as an entrepreneur. And I feel like, now that we're creating more of a conversation around this and sharing our challenge and experience, I feel like a lot of people have this challenge in common as well.
Well said, and I'm actually glad that you brought it up.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically around the once you get started, you really need
Mm-hmm.
to basically convince your mind to keep going down the path that you chose, especially if
Right.
it's not a specifically easy one. And
Mm-hmm.
it actually reminded me of something very interesting because I'm sure you and I, we both get a lot of messages and a lot of people approach us
Mm-hmm.
after they see our journey, after they study what we go through ourselves, and
Mm-hmm.
they ask us for like an advice, or perhaps maybe they want to maybe complain about the mistakes or the pain that they have in life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's as if what's interesting is they're kind of expecting an immediate result, or even worse, the only time that they're gonna feel happy, so to speak, is when
Mm-hmm.
they actually get to the end of that goal and they
Right.
achieve what they want to achieve. And
Mm-hmm.
I personally, I feel like this is a bunch of cope and a bunch of myths. Why am I saying that? It's because let's say if you're right now fat, or rather you would like to learn self-defense, or you would like to learn your speech, or you'd like to improve your dating life, whatever that the end
Mm-hmm.
goal is. You focus a lot on the end goal, hoping that you're going to feel happy once you reach the end goal. Then what's going to happen during the journey? You're just going to be
Right.
suffering.
Yeah.
And what if this goal is going to take 5 years to accomplish? Do you
Mm-hmm.
want to suffer for 5 years? I don't know about you, but I personally don't feel
Absolutely
like
not.
suffering for 5 years. I'm not that masochist. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, what I wanted to get into here is at the end of the day, it's not about just the end goal. It's better off to enjoy the journey that leads you to that end goal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you want to get in shape, if you want to learn martial arts, the stuff that you're going to learn throughout the journey, the people that you're going to meet, the experiences that life is going to throw at you. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that is the most beautiful thing about transformation. Not the end goal, but
Mm-hmm.
specifically the journey that led you to the end goal.
Right.
So I wanted to like ask you on that specifically because I'm a martial arts trainer, fitness trainer.
Mm-hmm.
People come to me because they truly believe that they want to protect their loved ones, protect themselves from their ego, from their negativity.
Mm-hmm.
And I obviously tell them it's gonna take time, my friend, but we're gonna make sure that we're going to enjoy this journey together as we're
Exactly.
improving. So I
Mm-hmm.
want to ask you, in your industry, when people get in consultant from you,
Mm-hmm.
tell me how does it usually go? Specifically, they want to achieve XYZ objective,
Mm-hmm.
and you offering them this consultation or
Mm-hmm.
coaching. How do you keep the people who are under your wing in a good morale? Let's
Mm-hmm.
like what's the kind of mentality you give them so that they can keep on this path that they're going through for
Right.
success?
Yeah. So speaking of that, so the industry that I'm working with, especially in the consulting, it's a never ending conversation. So we're talking like healthcare, health and wellness. And as you and I both know, health is wealth. Without your health, we can't do half the things that we're doing right now, especially the mind, body, and soul. We're all one, right? So when I'm speaking to clients or where we're going through consultation, a lot of the people that I'm speaking to, they are in a very competitive industry when it comes to like big pharma, health tourism, and also the access that we're giving our, the population to proper healthcare and health and wellness products, and the ability to have access to it all around the world, not just Canada and United States, right? So when I am on a call with them and speaking to him, the main issue that they're explaining to me is that they're afraid of the competition when it comes to products and when it comes to different brands. And the way that I comfort them is that, like, there's a reason why their brand is what there is, and there's a reason why they have loyal clients or customers that are buying their product or investing into their product or their company. So while we're on the call, it's a lot of, where do you see your company now? Where do you see your company in the future? And what is the best way I can help you make yourself more visible and credible on social media to attract your loyal audience, your clients? And the confusion where that lies is that, like, we'll be having the conversation, creating up a plan, and then, like, bam, they're like, okay, what's the end goal? Like, how do I beat, okay, what's a proper health and wellness brand? How do I beat Bloom if Bloom is like, wellness company. They sell like really good products when it comes to digestive systems, and a whole really good wellness company. Their main question is like, how do I get to the end goal without like really looking at the steps to get to that goal? So they're like worried about the competition. They're worried about AI taking over their brand or their jobs, or their not having to hire employers or employees. And I just have to let them be more present in the conversation of like, yes, we're going to get there, but what makes you stand out and different from your other competitors? Yes, there's bigger brands out there, and yes, they have loyal customers, but what makes you different and special, that your audience is going to continue to buy from you or buy your product or invest into your company? So I like to come and bring them into a present moment when they're very distracted when it comes to the end goal or the competition that they see on social media or see on different news channels. So I feel like the more present I am with my clients and with my customer base, the more work that we can get done from not just the consultant side, but from more like a personal side, because business has a lot to do with like you as a person and what you're putting, like the energy that you're giving out and that you're speaking to yourself and speaking into your business, and how you're representing yourself within your business as well. So I like to go inward, and then from inward working outward towards the actual tangible product or company. So that's the way I like to, share, like go through that journey with them. And I feel like it helps when like we take it inward a little bit, have them be present and figure out like what's their own insecurities about themselves, and how come, their business only made 60K last year, but it made, we want to go from 60K to like 2 million. How do we get there? What does that look like? And what's the easiest, most comfortable way to get them to those numbers if that's what they're really looking for? And it all has to circle back to media, social media. How do they represent themselves, their company, or their product in a proper way to attract that type of revenue? So it's been a very interesting journey in this industry, and I feel like health and wellness, healthcare is never going to go away. We need those, we need this industry to be very sustainable. And the people that I'm working with, they're amazing, and they're working on it religiously, especially in other parts of the world. And Canada is one of those places where we're slowly on the cups and figuring it out, but I'm just very blessed to be present with them, having those conversations, because as a self-reflection on myself too, when I'm speaking to those founders, me as an entrepreneur, it's like, okay, I hear what you're saying. I've been through the same ringer as well, going doom scrolling, looking at the competition. It's like, wait a second, I have something special here, and I feel like everybody has something special to offer.
That's pretty inspiring. You know what? It actually reminded me of the previous days, the past, where I was
Mm-hmm.
deep into my fight career, where if I was to actually step into a cage or a rink, I didn't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously that's where MMA coach comes in, my seafood and whatnot. And I keep bringing it up because he definitely, thanks to him, he helped me a lot throughout life. Obviously, my parents raised me well, but my coach is the one that forged me, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like a lot of people nowadays, they do have a dream, they do have a wish to do something out of their lives,
Mm-hmm.
but they just don't have the right direction and clarity to actually move forward and accomplish what they want.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually spoke about it in my previous episode with Jonathan Valley, which is a mutual friend of ours,
Yeah. Shout
very
out to
good friend.
Jonathan.
Shout out to Johnny and Steve. And what we basically discussed is, imagine people in our area, in Ottawa, Gatineau area, because we live in
Mm-hmm.
this area. They had
Mm-hmm.
1 year left to live. How many of those people will actually take their life seriously and try to make the most out of their lives? Now,
Mm-hmm.
we came to a conclusion that the numbers are pretty low, since people are kind of being brainwashed to, not try hard in life, live a normie life because it's
Mm-hmm.
easy.
Yeah.
Go party, go drink, see your friends, go Netflix and chill, stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yeah.
But those who actually want to succeed and want to make something out of them, even if they think about it, they don't actually take action on it.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to ask you, since you're a consultant and you're
Mm-hmm.
consulting a lot of people who are, like I said, trying to make something out of their brands or of their personalities, out of their companies, in order for them to get into entrepreneurship, in order for monetize their skills, let's say that they actually want to make their dream come true, there's going to be a lot of people who will try to pull them down, a lot of limiting beliefs and whatnot. So the question will be is, what kind of hurdles are they to expect that they need to get through
Mm-hmm.
before they can actually reach someone like you
Mm-hmm.
in order to get a consultation and an action step
Mm-hmm.
on how to get to the next level?
Right. To point out on that, it's like people want freedom, but they skip the boring structure that actually takes to create it. They want the freedom of the end goal, and jumping through those hurdles, it's difficult for the brain to comprehend, because the brain's like flight or flight. I just want to get to this end goal. I want to live a casual, easy lifestyle where my body feels safe, right? And as humans, we're trained to think and act that way, where we're just used to like the normal playing field, no life disruptors, everything's normal, everything's great. But then when you step over that hurdle, it's like, oh, the brain's like, okay, this is uncomfortable. I don't like this anymore. I want to get out. Right? So I feel like the people want the freedom of accessing that goal and getting to the end point without taking the actual steps or the hurdles. And I would say the biggest hurdle would be the discipline. The discipline translates across everything: business, life, life goals, even business goals. As humans, when it comes to discipline, our brain definitely processes it differently, especially if we're uncomfortable already with our current life positioning. Let's say we're working a 9 to 5, but like we want more out of life, we want more money, we want to travel, we don't like the structure of this anymore. Our brain's like, okay, how do we discipline our brain and our, I would say, lifestyle to get to the next point, or to live that lifestyle. So people come to me as a consultant, that's the first thing I ask them, is that, like, yes, I understand what you want for yourself and for your business, but what hurdles are you willing to jump over to get there? Is it quitting the 9 to 5, finding a side gig, trying to kick those people out of your life that are not really presenting or valuing you for your future self? So it has a lot to do with like personal self reflection, but also the discipline that you're going to take on as a human that's going to make you uncomfortable. A lot of people are not comfortable being uncomfortable, right? And I feel it has a lot to do with the discipline and those hurdles that you're willing to put your body and your mind through. It takes a lot of how do you say, it takes a lot of human force to tell your brain, like, okay, I want to do this, but I want to make sure my body's prepared to do this as well. And you having the boxing experience, you probably experienced this when you're training people as well, is that when you're stepping in the ring with someone and they're not used to throwing punches or moving their body that way, it's probably a coaching thing for you to coach them through the movements, or coach them through like the punching, the boxing as itself as a whole. So I feel like you and I can relate on both of those things. It's like you got to give your body time and your mind time to actually fall through with those hurdles and jump over them with ease, without forcing yourself to be like, okay, this is what everyone else is doing, I'm going to follow this even though I want to be comfortable. It really just has to do with the person, and how much they're willing to discipline their mind, and what comfortable assets are they willing to sacrifice to live that certain lifestyle, or to make that amount of income or money in their business, or whatever. So for myself, I would say I've gone through a lot as an entrepreneur. I had to sacrifice, my apartment, my luxury car, a certain lifestyle I was living before, and I had to minimize my liabilities to create the life that I want today and for the future. But that's more for a personal choice. But let's say I didn't do that, I would still be stuck at my boring job, paying, expensive rent and not going really anywhere. So I feel it just has a lot to do with the person and their journey, and, if they're willing to go through those hurdles with themselves, but also with myself as well.
Hell yeah. And I
you know?
appreciate the compliment you gave me about
Yeah.
be able to coach specifically when it comes to like
Mm-hmm.
fighting. It's kind of interesting. I want to point it out. A lot of people in the martial arts community, in the martial arts market, they would rather dominate and beat you to the ground and feel good about it. It's
Mm-hmm.
a ego thingy, and I get it. It's
Yeah.
it's mostly comes from inexperience and sometimes, how can I say, insecurities. But
Mm-hmm.
what what was interesting for me is that when I was both sparring my opponents or fighting them in real life in a cage or in a ring, even during the fight, I sometimes felt like I need to like teach them something. Sometimes maybe
Mm-hmm.
boost them morally so they can keep
Yeah.
up with me. I'm all about dominance. When I step into a ring or a cage or life in general, I want to win. I want to dominate, and I don't show mercy for my opponents. However, it doesn't mean that I cannot have fun and maybe provide some value to the opponent
Mm-hmm.
at the same time. There's nothing personal
Yes.
about it. We're all human
Yeah.
beings at the same time.
Right.
So why
Exactly.
not provide and give a bit? It's a give-give
Mm-hmm.
situation. You give me a
Mm-hmm.
victory, and I give you lessons to help you through
Mm-hmm.
life. So hey,
Right.
what I actually thought about, since I'm all about building and instilling discipline, and you're about taking those disciplined people and moving them to the next level, especially
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps I should start beating more discipline into the people that fight me. And then I'll send them
Mm.
over to you. So, like that, we're going to grow the
Yes.
entrepreneur population in Ottawa.
Yes, I agree. Let's do it. That's a great
Yeah,
plan, man.
let's fucking go. Let's say
I love
Alicia
it. Yes. No,
BFF team.
that's actually a really great way to look at it because like I was saying before, health and wellness and business has a lot like when you combine those two, you can be unstoppable. And for me personally, of course, I definitely want to sign up for a boxing class. I feel like it'll be a great outlet for me. I go to the gym, every once in a while, but I like doing more an activity if I'm going to like, get my body moving. And I feel like boxing's a great way to do that. So I'm really excited to learn from you and learn how to, punch properly. I don't want to punch like a girl anymore.
I
I want to
appreciate
learn.
it.
Of course, of course. So I feel like that has a lot to do. Like those go really well together. Not just working out, but again, like boxing and what you're doing, especially as an entrepreneur, even with your podcast, is amazing because you're killing two birds with one stone. Health and wellness is one thing, but also business and mindset and longevity is another thing as well. So comparing those two and putting those two together, it's not you can be unstoppable. You can create, or we can create unstoppable human beings in Ottawa. I think so.
That's definitely something that would help us a lot. And
Yeah.
feel free to come anytime for a boxing class. And it actually brings me to this subject of, you know, I'm sure you're aware that we're lacking a lot of masculine men, proper masculine men,
Oh, let's get
positive
into it.
masculine men. And
Mm-hmm.
obviously, martial arts is one of the best ways to instill this type of um, edge and masculinity into guys nowadays. And
Mm-hmm.
going to like females interested in martial arts, females interested in martial artists, it all goes in hand because when females look at a martial artist or somebody who can defend himself, they
Mm-hmm.
see it as a protector vibe. Somebody
Mm-hmm.
that they envision somebody feeling safe around, somebody that they can release and relax with, and not
Mm-hmm.
worry about is he going to chicken out when push comes to shove? Is
Yeah.
he actually going to stand his ground and be a man when push comes to shove?
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna get to an AMA. I actually have a question that was sent to by one of our viewers,
Oh
and it's
yeah.
related to dating.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to cover that so that the viewers can get some really good dating knowledge from us in here.
Of course.
So the question is dating for men and women, how it's different, and what to do to stand out from the rest. Now,
Mm.
how I feel like we can do it is that since you're a female entrepreneur, you can definitely talk a lot about how females nowadays, especially in Ottawa, Gatineau area, can stand out from the rest of the females to attract rather more higher value men that they want to settle down with.
Mm-hmm. So my advice comes from personal experience. You are who you attract. So the more that you work on yourself, especially as a woman, the more that you build boundaries and your own foundation when it comes to your health, your business, your financial structure, building your own home first, and then once that is settled and you're okay with what you've built, then you can start attracting or calling to the universe of the partner that is meant for you, that you think that's going to add value to your life and how you're going to be adding value to the man's life as well. I haven't dated much here in Ottawa. I'm just really focused, more on networking and filling up my business. So I'm really focused more on building my foundation. So once the time comes and that foundation's set and I'm open to dating or open for a man to come in my life, I'll be more than ready. But that's just from my own perception. But for the audience, I would say the more that you work on yourself and uplift yourself and build yourself to who you want to attract or the man that you want to attract, I feel like it could be a no-brainer, to be honest with you. And I right now with men and women, we are in a really interesting space where we are being more divided instead of coming together. I feel like I feel like if men and women actually came together and made each other feel safe, we would get so much more done, not just on a relationship aspect, but more on a networking business, supporting each other through all different types of ventures. I feel like we would get so much more further if we just made each other feel safe and there wasn't any, I would say no like second like motivational force when it comes to dating or even friendships between men or women. So the main answer that I'm saying is continue working on yourself, and then you'll attract the person that maybe your future boyfriend, girlfriend, or fiance, or husband. So I feel like it's definitely difficult this day and age dating. I would say stay off the dating apps. I know dating apps is huge right now, but it's more authentic meeting people in person, and I feel like God or the universe will bring you that person that's going to uplift you in the way that you see fit, and someone that's meant for you and providing actual value in your life instead of being on a dating app and swiping. It's like being at a buffet. And as humans, we don't want to, we love all you could eat for as far as eating, but like putting yourself in a dating app and swiping left or swiping right, it just kind of defeats the purpose of it happening organically or more authentically, right? So I feel like the more that you surround yourself with people that you see going friendship with or networking with, or people that have very similar mindsets or similar goals or values within their personal life or business life, the more that you can connect or attract the partner within those circles, meeting at dinners, meeting at social events. And working with Jonathan, that's something that we're working on, not in a dating sense, but having more private or open socials where like those vetted people that have similar values and mindsets can be in the same room with you, as you, and maybe you can meet your match.
Hell yeah. And you point out something very important, specifically for female dating self development, which is, as long as you work on yourself, you preserve your femininity,
Mm-hmm.
that you have a very high chance of actually landing a high value man, especially if you know how to put yourself out there in the right way.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for the guys that are watching that might be also interested in a guy perspective on how to actually make the most out of their dating lives to attract the most quality partner they can ever imagine, there are many ways that a man need to work on himself in order for attracting not just good women but good people overall. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of guys that they just don't deserve the good stuff that life has to bring for them. And that is because they rather take from everybody rather than give. And what do I
Mm-hmm.
mean by that is, sure, you're a human being. Sure, you have the right to live in this planet. However, karma is kind of real. The universe
Mm-hmm.
is kind of real.
It's very
But
real.
so why would the universe actually give you flowers if you don't provide anything to the people around you? I mean, look at us, for example, entrepreneurs. You provide consultation for people who are looking to, you know, kickstart their business or even jumpstart to a new level.
Mm-hmm.
Me, I come with people with mental problems, looking to improve their fitness, maybe learn how to defend themselves, improve their mindset, instill
Mm-hmm.
their masculinity. And by learning that, they can actually become this valuable person that both men and women respect and want to be around. Not because they only feel safe and they feel like this is the type of person they need to be with, but also because just by being around them, karma is going to, by default, how can I say, reward them as well,
Mm-hmm.
especially if they help this man to grow. So,
Right.
there are a few things that a man should work on if you're right now watching this: your fitness, financials, confidence, your masculine edge. I'm not talking about masculinity in a sense of toxic, where you gotta be a tyrant, tell everybody what to do.
Yeah.
Rather, say it in the sense of a leading, a trusting leader, somebody that people actually feel safe releasing or listening to,
Mm-hmm.
and which most importantly leads people to success, not to failures.
Mm-hmm.
Because think about this: why would a woman be in her femininity and submit to you in the first place if all you do is create chaos and not lead towards
Exactly.
a happy, safe environment where she can actually feel happy with you?
Yes, John. Yeah, you clocked it right there. Exactly.
Yeah. So we'll definitely be covering more dating topics in the future. John, you will be able to chime in the future. But I wanted to like ask you before we start wrapping up. Do you
Mhm.
have any questions for me specifically that you want to cover?
Yeah, I do have a question for you, especially in your field of work, right? When it comes to starting with like the boxing process, where do you think most people sabotage their own progress without realizing it? It could be either relating to your boxing business or just being an entrepreneur yourself. But where do you think people sabotage their own progress when they get started with, say, like your first class, and they're like, okay, this is too hard. I don't want to do this anymore. And like they don't even realize it that they're canceling or like they're rescheduling. Because I experienced this on my own where people will make meetings with me and like the first meeting will go great and they're like, okay, this is too much. I can't handle this, or they get burnout. So where do you think most people sabotage their own progress?
You know, it's a very interesting question, and
Mm-hmm.
I want people to understand that martial arts in itself, you know, it's just a sport. Like, I don't play martial arts. I play soccer. I can play
Mm-hmm.
basketball. You don't play
Mm-hmm.
martial arts. You don't
Mm-hmm.
play boxing. You don't play
Mm-hmm.
MMA. You do it. So, by default, doing it becomes a way of life, a lifestyle. So, you eat, you live, you breathe martial arts. And by embracing the martial artist mindset, the martial artist lifestyle, that's when you actually start to benefit from what it has to give to you. Now, people that join martial arts clubs and whatnot, I feel like there is some background noise. Is it you? Oh, wait a second. Yeah, it is you, just to make
It
sure.
is. Okay.
Yeah, okay,
Is it
cool.
is it gone?
Yeah, it's gone. If it's again, I'll just mute while I'm talking so that
Mm-hmm.
there won't be like any interruptions for with the audio. Sounds good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sounds good. So, where I was saying is that people will join martial arts clubs or get into martial arts training. And some of them have a goal of maybe they want to do one fight just to like get over a stressful situation in their lives. And fair enough, they do it once, they quit, they feel happy. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad for you. Others, they are trying to find purpose. And this is something that I actually uh, did because I joined martial arts as a teenager. I started martial arts when I was 17 for real,
Mm-hmm.
and started with kickboxing, transitioned to MMA, then started kung fu with my coach, and
Mm-hmm.
eventually became a assistant instructor for my coach,
Nice.
and which down the line led me to obviously wanting to start my business. But
Mm-hmm.
this wouldn't have happened if I wasn't breathing or actually living this lifestyle of a martial artist. Now,
Mm-hmm.
every day when I was waking up, I was looking at it from a stance of martial arts for me today is something I can improve on. I get to learn how to defend myself. I get to perhaps go to another competition to improve my status, show that I am worthy of something, show to God that I am worthy of defending my people, and that I'm actually a warrior. Because warriors, as history and the encyclopedia said, they were always respected. We're talking
Mm-hmm.
about gladiators, which we can talk about Spartans, we can talk about the
Yes.
Greeks. All
Mm-hmm.
of that was always talked about in the history books. So it
Mm-hmm.
made sense for me to step into this type of environment where I get to compete with someone, where I get
Mm-hmm.
to exchange blows, but not in a way of just to hurt myself, but it's a type of pain that will help me grow from it. A lesson.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the type of pain from you doing drugs or from you, self-inflicting damage as some people do. It's
Mm-hmm.
actual pain which is real, which helps you
Mm-hmm.
grow.
Right.
So a lot of people, like I said, they forget the fact that they join an environment which they need to adapt to and absorb,
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
not to reject.
Mm-hmm.
There is a difference between a fighter and a
Mm-hmm.
martial artist.
Mm-hmm.
A fighter might come to a gym here and there. A martial artist is going to leave the gym, breathe the gym, and get back to it every day
Yeah.
because he leaves it.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a difference between long term, successful students or fighters versus once in a lifetime or once in a while seasonal
Mm-hmm.
aspirational fighters, so to speak.
Right. No,
So
thank you for breaking that down because I always been interested in martial arts and boxing. I feel like it's a great way to create discipline for yourself, but also exactly how you broke it down, and explained it. And I just think it's just very fascinating, and I've always been interested in and like just like instead of taking your anger out on social media, why not take it out? Why not take it out in the boxing ring? I think it's really
exactly.
health. I think it's a healthy way to release that.
True, and
Mm-hmm.
obviously people already saw it, but I attended Street Beefs, which is a backyard fighting organization, which is legal by the way. And I'm gonna be
Mm-hmm.
doing another fight in October. But this is actually a very cool environment for guys to gather up and exchange blows in a very safe environment, and
Mm-hmm.
coming out as a new person, perhaps maybe, and you make a new friend after beating his ass up, so to speak.
Right.
So I believe that martial
Right.
arts, especially for guys, is a great way to build that edge, and for women, it's also great, especially if they have a very, you know, stressful career life where they have to
Mm-hmm.
always lead, and they're just looking to release sometimes and punch something and socialize with somebody like-minded to
Yes.
feel accepted and feel appreciated for simple stuff like fitness.
Right.
So yeah, so we're about to wrap up. So
Mm-hmm.
Alicia, I would like you to talk to people that are watching right now.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of services exactly you're offering them at the moment, and where
Mm-hmm.
can they find you?
Of course, yeah. So the services I'm offering at the moment is my consulting. So if you need help with go-to-market strategy, if you need help with pitch decks, if you need help with anything that has to do with showing up online or creating visibility through social media, through social media platforms like Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube, I'm your girl. If you are in the health and wellness industry, if you're in the clean energy tech solution industry, or in the climate change industry, I would love to speak to you. So you can find me on LinkedIn. That's where I'm mostly active. I have a really popular global platform on LinkedIn. So, just first name, last name, Alecia Maximo. And then you could watch my podcast that I do co host with my co host, Haley Overseth. It's called The Venora Effect. We talk everything on there through cybersecurity, AI. We speak a lot about what the future is going to look like when we step into a space where our planet can't handle the pressure and the I would say the pressure and the damage that it's doing to that we're doing to the planet. We have a lot of conversations about what that's going to look like and how can we make humans more adaptable to energy exchange and the future of energy. What is that going to look like, and making them more adaptable? So if you are looking for any help in those industries, or if you just want to have a conversation about business or entrepreneurship, go to market strategy, I'm your girl. Please let me know. Hit me up on LinkedIn, and I'm really popular on WhatsApp as well. And thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jonathan, for having me on your podcast. I'm looking forward to continuing this conversation with you and working with you and supporting our women entrepreneurs or men entrepreneurs. It's totally a journey and a different journey for everyone. I'm just here to support all, and we're mostly experiencing very similar hurdles, very similar journeys. So please come on the podcast. Feel free to share your journey on whatever niche or business that you do have, and I'll be more than happy to help you guys figure out a really good strategy.
Hell yeah, you heard it, guys and girls. She's the girl, so you better get a consultation from her, because yeah,
Thank you so
personally,
much.
saying, like, when I met you, like I said, you had
Mm-hmm.
this conviction in your voice and in your mindset that you knew that you what we were talking about. Most
Mm-hmm.
people will offer you something, they don't even know what they're talking about. Why
Yeah,
would
it's
I get
just
coaching from them?
yeah, it's just I just been blessed to have amazing conversations on a global scale. Of course, we are in Canada, and my business is based in the States. By the way, I was born in Canada, but I grew up in the United States, and I moved here 2 years ago after Trump became president for more personal, safer reasons. And I just have been blessed with the opportunity to have very intellectual conversations with people from Dubai, Japan, I would say Singapore, and like Europe, hearing their perception of what they do in their health and wellness and healthcare industry has opened up my brain and my mindset of whoa, like we need to tell the people about these brands, about these people, so they can know there's other opportunities and options for people, us humans, to take more an advantage of our own health and to heal our own mind and body and, our soul in that type of way. So that's just kind of what I'm very passionate about, and that's what created Venora to be as more authentic as it is right now. And the podcast is just one pillar, but we're moving more into more of a journey storytelling sector to be more, I would say, relatable to the audience that are looking for these companies or these brands, and just expand their mindset or their view of, okay, I necessarily do not need to get a whole healthcare type of run around with big pharma if I'm staying in Canada, United States. There's other options and opportunity out there if you just get on a plane and take a flight over. So I just been blessed to have some of these people on my podcast and talk to them on LinkedIn, and just hearing their perception and their experience and the way that they story tell from them building their brand and their company, and now how it's blowing up in their country as well, and them wanting to do business with me and giving me a full runaround of how it's working for them and how they're trying to push that narrative over into our the Western capitalism world between Canada and the United States. So we're here trying to expand this knowledge, expand to the masses of, health is wealth. And the more healthy that you are and the more information, the proper care, it may necessarily not be in Canada. We may have to go on a plane and go overseas, but I'm here to support and help those people that are looking for that opportunity. So yeah, that's my passion. That's part of my purpose of what I'm doing, and I just want to help people heal, because without the healing aspect, where exactly would we be? So that is how I wanted to end the podcast, and I'm just happy to be here. Thank you, Jan. Thanks so much.
Pleasure. And like I said, I'm blessed to have you on the podcast. And obviously, I send blessings over to you and your brand, wishing you
Mhm.
much, much growth. And obviously,
Thank you.
we'll stay in touch and make sure that we help every person that we can in our
Mhm.
vicinity to get the karmic benefits as well. So,
Mhm.
we're about to wrap everything up. So before we end the stream, guys, if you're watching, thank you very much for coming over. It's been a pleasure to have Alicia here, and hope you guys have had at least one lesson from this podcast. That's all that matters. At least one. That's all we need. Before we wrap up, guys between 25 and 50 years old living in Gatineau and Ottawa area, if you guys are feeling like you're losing your masculine edge, looking to improve your mindset, looking to get into fitness, and you're working in a very stressful environment like, I don't know, government work or corporate, I'm offering 5 slots for 5 people where I'm going to be doing a 12-week transformation program. And we're basically going to be covering martial arts training in person, nutrition. So I'm going to be giving you a nutritional plan based on your body type and what you prefer. We're going to be doing accountability. We're going to be doing mindset training. And most importantly, you're going to have me as a coach who has had 9 MMA fights and literally had coached like more than 70 people through my brand now. And not to mention dozens of people when I was an assistant instructor back in the days. Now, if you guys are interested in those type of services, I offer free consultations at Banana Fighter Fit, both Instagram, Facebook, or on my TikTok. It's the Banana Fighter. Go out to those, subscribe, and reach out to me. Lastly, like I promised, Fireblood Supplement. I told you I'll bring one sample. This supplement right here, it has all the amino
Mm.
acids you need, all the multi minerals, all the stuff that you need for your daily doses. So you'll be spending $400 for your basic supplements at the store. This one will be saving you at least a third. So, highly suggest. I'll drop the link in the description. Tastes like crap, but doesn't matter because we're men. We want to be strong
Ah,
and defend our
hawk
women.
out. That's right,
Exactly.
hawk out.
Exactly. So, I'll be dropping everything. I'll drop Alicia's socials and links in the description. Same thing for my links and the Firebird link also in the description. Now, like I said, once again, Alicia, thank you so much for coming over to the
Yeah.
podcast. And we're going to be ending this stream, guys. You have a great
All
day.
right. Thank you. Bye.